So give it up for Mr. Blake Allen.
Can you hear me all right?
Yes.
Is this mic working okay? All righty. I am Blake Allen. I guess I should move the little thing closer. Isn't that clever? I don't know if that works anymore.
Yep.
All right. It turns out proximity is important. I'm Blake Allen, as we said, with Allen Realty. I've been licensed since 1985. My dad was Paul Allen with Paul Allen Realty. If any of you have been in Denver long enough to remember the "Buy This Paul Allen" signs, that was my dad. It was I don't know if anybody was alive then. But, as far as how long I've been doing this, I found out about exchange groups in about 2006, the Pikes Peak Exchangers, and joined, and I've been a member of the National Council of Exchangers since 2007, equity marketing specialist designation. But my dad did this kind of stuff. If he knew there were these groups, he didn't tell me about it. But I first did our first fix and flip and wraparound mortgage deals before anybody had ever used those terms. Wraparound mortgage was a brand new thing back in 1977 when I was 11 out here in Aurora. So these kind of things I've been familiar with my whole life. Learned most of it in a bunch of crude one-liners from my father. So
You won't repeat most of those.
yeah. Do you know my father? Oh yeah, I was gonna say, 'cause he had some doozies, and I apologize on his behalf. So that's basically me. I'm on the board of directors of the National Council of Exchangers. That's a group that trades property all over the country. We meet 4 times in Las Vegas. That's what Thomas mentioned. People have asked, well, it's only for licensees. Yes, it is, but you can come as a social attendee for $250. You can take a full day class. You can go to the night, the social events we have at night, and including a cowboy auction where we trade everything but money. We basically auction anything, but you can't use money. And it's an interesting way to learn about trading. An old exchanger put out, anybody remember what the thrifty nickel is? Anybody know what the thrifty nickel is? Okay. Used to be these things made out of paper that people would read. And he put an ad in there that said, "Exchanging, the best kept secret in real estate." That's all his ad said, and he made a career off of that. Exchanging is the best kept secret in real estate. It's probably the most lucrative way of doing real estate business. Most people don't ever talk about it or ever learn about it. Not really sure why. It's not intentional. I think what happens is once you become a member of a group, you end up doing exchanges with a lot of other people. Like this kind of group would be a similar thing. You don't really end up needing to evangelize and go out and work with the rest of the world. And so as a fact, we've always just stayed pretty small relative to the number of people out there. So what is this? So most of you don't know there's this exchange marketplace, okay? We trade property. Brokers trade property all over the country. And we've got National Council of Exchangers, we've got Society of Exchange Counselors. These are for licensees only. We all get in a room and we trade property. This has been happening for about 60 years, okay? We've been trading things like this, but probably less than 1% of the market of real estate professionals even know that the marketplace exists. These 2 national groups, National Council of Exchangers and Society of Exchange Counselors, have meetings. The NCE meets 4 times a year. We'll have about 100 brokers. We'll trade between $500 million and $2 billion worth of inventory at the meetings. As brokers, we will leave with a notebook 2.5 inches thick that's all full of properties, exchange packages. They're all for trade. And that's just part of the dynamic there. These meetings are the only place that I know that you can go and present a property or a package and leave with multiple offers. Okay, it's the most like the stock market of anything that we have in real estate. Okay, imagine this room here if we just took all the people inside and moved them around the outside, and we all actually started talking about the real estate we own and realizing that, goodness, I'd rather have that than what I've got. That's the dynamic of what we're doing, and we're doing it for clients. We all owe a big debt of gratitude to people for the years who have done this, okay? We have set up these meetings, these national organizations and these local groups with certain forms and ways of working, ways of doing business that are conducive to trading and marketing benefits, and I'll get into the marketing of benefits here soon. So Richard Reno is the guy who really created all this, and Calvin's got the Richard Reno book to prove it, right? So Richard Reno came up with a lot of these ideas way back when he was a broker in Southern California. About 20 brokers in Southern California got together and started this back like 1959, 1960, something like that. One thing we owe to Mr. Reno is the Reno form. What we have here is a Reno form. How it works is first of all, why we call it a package instead of property is because what we're really marketing, and you'll learn through this discussion, is the unique set of benefits that is related to this property. It's not just the property, it's the owner and the unique package of benefits, what they will do for you in order to get you to do a transaction. That's what we're primarily marketing. So one guy, like myself, I'll stand up in front at the podium presenting the property, and another exchanger will moderate me and ask me questions. We'll go through the people, the property, the opportunity, and the solution, or where we're going from here as part of the discussion. You've got a whole group full of people. You usually have thousands of years of experience, real estate experience in the room. We come up with this solution usually for most people's problems, and in fact we'll have 8 or 10 solutions usually in the room. Maybe I'm exaggerating, maybe 3 or 4 in most cases, but just to go through the package format itself, you'll see what we've got here, a little different from most of your MLS kind of stuff, is you've got, we put the value on there, that's the price. Put the debt on there. How often do you guys see the debt in your MLS listings? Do you see that very often? No. Is how much debt the owner has important?
Absolutely.
Right, it's kind of important. And so this is my property I have to disclose. I got $1.2 million in equity. I don't own the whole property, I just own the part that I own. The 28 units on the west side. Here's the address, here's your little description of it, there's your MLS. That's all we're going to tell you about the property, because the property doesn't really matter. Here's what your income is. This is, it says projected, but it's based on this month, put out to a year. Benefits to the new owner. Okay, why would somebody want to do this? Okay, it's got all the traditional benefits of income property. Benefits sought. Which is again, you don't see an MLS. I'm seeking a path to $1 million in cash, or a little less. Actually, I need $650 to pay off a residence. That's why I'm doing it. My motivation is very high. Again, not something we speak about in MLS. What can I add? I got a bunch of duplexes, 4plexes in Colorado Springs, commercial buildings, and all the rest. Cash for the right deal. Remarks: I'm happy with this leasehold. I'll continue ownership if I get the benefits sought. I'll go up and down. Could use $5 million cash and can provide adequate collateral to deliver paper. So I can go up to a $10 million deal, or I can take a little deal. These are, all of this stuff we put on one form like this. Everybody's got a form like this in the book, or multiple for your different clients. This is how we begin to transact business.
No, I was going to say, the things that you're pointing out that are not usually in the MLS, how can you put those things on there? Because you're violating your fiduciary responsibility.
We have a different example here because I own it, but besides that, if this were a regular client, we have in our listing agreements, and the question brokers most have is, how do we get paid? We get paid the same way we do otherwise. We have an exclusive listing agreement, exclusive right to sell listing agreement, or an exclusive right to buy listing agreement. In there we put language that says, we have the permission to discuss your motivations in the context of exchange meetings for the purpose of marketing your property, okay? Not just to talk trash about you wherever we want, we got the freedom to do it. No, we're trying to create a transaction. If we as brokers think that information is beneficial to eliciting a deal, and it's gonna be in your best interest for the people that know that, we're gonna go ahead and tell them. If we don't think so, we're gonna protect you, because a client is a person under the protection of another. That keeps the whole system safe, let's put it that way. Everybody, like attorneys with clients, we're responsible to protect our clients. So real estate formulas and client counseling are the keys to what we do, okay? Real estate formulas are different ways of doing deals, but client counseling is really the key, is understanding the client. So the key to our success is the education of the brokers and their clients and their mutual understanding. Brokers explore the options and benefits available to their clients in the marketplace. They educate their clients to allow the clients to make the best informed decision appropriate given the circumstances, and the brokers never make the decision for the client. So what we're doing is people like Ted, who's been licensed 48 years, okay? He's taking his experience to the marketplace on your behalf, looking at the opportunities in the marketplace, knowing what he knows about you and deciding what kind of transaction may be best for you. Andrea Newman is a client of mine. I know her very well from over the years. It's fairly easy for me to go to a meeting and see whether or not I think Andrea will be interested in a given package, and if she can deliver the benefits they seek and vice versa. This and the exchange marketplace is where we do this, in these meetings, okay? We end up knowing people very well, so we can call them up on the phone. I can call up Thomas or Ted or Dave and say, hey, it's Blake, and then start talking about the deal. Okay, we don't have to posture about how wonderful brokers we are, and, you know, where we come from, and all that other stuff, how many deals we've done, all that. We don't have to do any of that because we already know each other. And so it really makes the transactions easier to happen with that. So that really gets to, so the exchange marketplace is where these brokers engage in equity marketing, which is actually the subject of this talk. It's actually about equity marketing, not just exchanging. So there's one basic principle to equity marketing. You can only sell that portion of the property that you own, okay? The rest is owned by the bank or others, okay? You may hold title to the property yourself, you can be a member of an LLC, a tenant in common, but you really own the part of it that you own unless you own it fee simple, free and clear, okay? And then you own the entire thing and you can trade the whole equity. In many circumstances, we have to accommodate the bank and others. We must provide them with the benefits that they seek if we're going to continue to be successful, okay? The benefits the banks seek are usually interest payments or a payoff, right? If we don't provide the bank with the benefits they seek, are we going to be successful? Probably not, right? Because they're going to foreclose on us and we're not going to have the property and we're not going to do very well. We have to give them the benefits they seek. So partners may just want to pay off, they might want to go move up, down out of real estate, become more or less passive. If you have partners, you don't own the whole equity, you have humans that can be accommodated the same way. Here we go to the benefits of real estate. So there are four basic benefits of real estate held for investment. Most of you, I imagine, are familiar with these concepts. Income appreciation. Income means you got cash coming in. Appreciation, it's going to sell for, we hope it's going to sell for more in the future than we bought it for. Depreciation is, because of the government, we're allowed to deduct improvements over time. Depreciation is sort of an artificial thing, as is amortization. We have a tenant or property that pays off the debt, so the property pays for itself over time, all right? These are tangible benefits, okay? These are the money, nuts and bolts, easy tangible benefits. There are also a lot of intangible or variable or subjective benefits to real estate, okay? This is the marketplace. This is how deals are done. If everybody wanted the same thing, it wouldn't really work. Sometimes you just want something other than what you have, okay? The reasons may be age, wealth, geography, familial status. People get divorced. Turns out they're kind of different people who want different things than they were when they were married, right? Mm-hmm. That sort of happens real fast when that kind of crisis happens. So, like I say, it turns out that we're all unique. That's one of my favorite things to say. Remember, every one of you, that you're unique, just like everybody else. Right? So everybody's unique. That's the big difference. Some more than others. But and like I said, we often change like the weather and with the weather. Okay. Turns out we're all human beings. So a distinction I was going to make here to talk about some different benefits in a group like this is some people want to make money off of real estate. Okay. Some people want to invest for profit in real estate. Those are two different sets of benefits. They seem real similar, but making money off real estate versus investing for profit in real estate. These are examples of different benefits. Some people have trusts and LLCs that do the different things for them. They'll have something for cash flow, they'll have something for later. Okay, they'll have stuff they want to invest in for the long term that then's going to pay for a college kid, but then they've got this other deal over here that they want to suck cash flow out of every month because they got a bill they want to pay. Different sets of benefits sought even within the same person. So specifically to this group, in this group, the Anthony Chara folks, as I call you, we have different partners in syndication seeking different sets of benefits, or it wouldn't work, okay? Some people provide the capital, for example. Some people provide services. People providing the capital are investing for profit. the people providing the services are making money off real estate, right? Just those two go together real well, and they help everybody make some money. Like I say, you already know this concept, but we often forget to focus on the benefits sought by and delivered to each party to the transaction. If the sum of the benefits less the detriments is not greater for every party to the transaction, the deal will not close. Now you notice I'm focusing on the transactional phase of it, not the ownership phase of it. I want to be pretty clear about that. This is the same with the cash transaction, okay? It's only when the sum of the benefits exceeds the sum of the detriments for every person is it going to close, okay? And that's going to be the right price. Either everyone's equally miserable, either everyone's equally happy, however you want to define it. That's when a real estate for cash deal is closed. And those deals are usually just measured in numbers. So, as you know up there, as I put up there, cash is not a benefit, okay? It can buy benefits. So cash in and of itself has no value. It's a piece of paper with ink on it, promissory note from the Federal Reserve. So, alrighty, so having laid this whole preamble, so some people here, this is assuming people have some sort of equity somewhere, or the discussion is about equity marketing. So you have some equity of some kind, what do you want to do with it? Okay, the whole underlying assumption that I have here is that a different set of benefits that you're seeking is, you're seeking a better set of benefits than the set of benefits that you've got right now. Whether you say, I've got this house that I fixed and flipped, and I think $450,000 worth of cash is going to be a lot better than this house for me, that's what you're doing. You're seeking the benefits that you can go and buy with the $450,000 of cash. So so traditionally, what would we do? We'd sell the property, pay the taxes, go buy another piece of property, right? That's what people do. This was before the Starker decision in 1985. Guy Starker sued the federal government. He had a bunch of timberland he wanted to sell. Just like a guy who buys and sells widgets, he says, if I go from real estate to real estate, I shouldn't get taxed. This is what he sued the government, won. That's what set up the whole artificial 1031 process with these identification period, 45-day identification period, 180 days to close. You've got a little, very easy one on your, in your little handout there. You see how easy I made the cartoon? Because that's how easy it is, okay. You've got a property. It's this size. You want this one that's bigger. Everything must be held for investment. You sell your property, you give money to the qualified intermediary, then you go buy the other property. You have to go up in value and debt. This property has to be worth more and it's got to have a little bit more debt. So that line's a little bit higher than that line, and that box is a little bigger than that box. You like that? If anybody hasn't taken a basic 1031 class, you should. Dan and his organization have them happening probably every 2 or 3 weeks, right? Yeah. So you can go and get one. You should know all of the nuances, the different identifications, what you can do with reverse 1031 exchange. You can buy the replacement property first. You can buy this one first and then sell yours, and that all of that stuff works. So one note I always tell people, so if your property will sell for as much cash as you want, and you can get what you want with the cash, you know, what you want for what you're willing to pay for it, then you go ahead and trade in and out of cash, okay, and do a traditional 1031 exchange. It's a lot easier than doing a simultaneous exchange or trading directly. So this is trading in and out of cash, okay? What's cash?
Banknotes.
Right. They're promissory notes from the Federal Reserve. They're promissory notes, an IOU from Uncle Sam. Everyone here in the room takes IOUs from Uncle Sam in exchange for goods. When you leave here, you're going to give them Federal Reserve notes, promissory notes, promises that the government will pay them, and they gave us food, okay? It's amazing. I don't know why they do that, but it turns out we don't need their notes to do real estate. Anything that can be done with cash through this process, this is passing promissory notes through a process. So anything that can be done with their promissory notes, the green ones, can be done with the white paper ones that I print out. But I was thinking of printing mine on green paper just for fun. But anyhow, you can make notes and deeds of trust. You can sell the property, have the QI hold the note, and go to the next.
I wouldn't put the dead presidents on.
Yeah, and it'd be funny to, you'd have to have dead presidents on the paper. So anyhow, so we don't really need notes to do deals with real estate. And what we're really seeking in the transaction isn't to trade in and out of promissory notes. It's to trade one set of benefits for another set of benefits. When we market real estate, we're marketing a specific set of benefits, searching for that person or entity that seeks that specific set of benefits. So if it's that house at that price, thinking of regular residential sales, that's what we're looking for. But we can be more effective when we open our minds to taking things other than, like I say, just dirty old cash. Now, Thomas, push the button. All right. What we have here is this is what we call the taker chart, or I like to call the taker chart. So how can you expand the market for your property? So really, this is on the disposition end of your investment. When you're looking to go to the next thing, you're trying to sell something. So ask yourself, can I accept something other than cash for my equity? There are always more takers in the marketplace with notes and or equity than cash buyers. And we'll go over this with you. Now, where are these people? They're in the exchange marketplace. It's very hard to find them in the regular MLS world. But if, for your property, your little house, there are a couple of people who want to buy it for cash, that's great. Those people are your people that you're going to market it to. If you can get one of those two people who needs a house, you're going to get it. People with notes, that means people who would take it with a seller carrier, or people who would take it with notes on their property. So these promissory notes, by deeds of trust, there are going to be more of them. Most people in this group would probably buy a house with a note. If they'll 100% seller carrier, and the value is right, why wouldn't you? Takers with other types of property. So not only will they take your seller carry note or seller carry it for you, they'll take that piece of land that you got from your grandma that you don't know what to do with. If you're willing to take other property or to move somewhere, anywhere, if you're geographically flexible, you're going to find out there's a lot of people all over the country who will do it. And if you buy your way out of your property in a certain extent, you add cash or notes to your equity, not anyone will take your property. I can have a $100,000 piece of land that's worth $10,000. If I buy your $2 million property and give you $1.9 million in cash, you're going to give me $100,000 for my piece of land 9 times out of 10. Okay, I can add cash or notes to my equity. I love how they put the little chimney on it because it's a house. Potential takers can disappear in smoke because of sellers' inflexibility. Okay, I just put this out there to let you know when you're disposing of property, you want to have something that you want to buy things that nobody wants and sell things that everybody wants. That's the general principle of all economics, right? Supply and demand economics. So when it's time to get rid of it, how are you going to get the most is what we're talking about. And that's how you're going to get more takers for your property and move up there. So what we're really looking for are takers for our clients' property. When we open our mind to different possibilities, we can find a lot more takers out there in the room. And where do we find these takers? Exchange meetings. One thing I want you to understand, you do not have to take what is offered to you if you don't want it. You can always take a deal subject to something in lieu of what they've offered to you. So we can trade through what these people with the geographic property, not where you are, you can probably trade through it if at the end the sum of benefits don't exceed the sum of detriments for everybody, it's not going to close. Nobody's going to take something that they don't want. Like I said, the property itself doesn't matter so long as it delivers the benefits we seek and we like it. Okay, and like my dad always taught me, there is no accounting for taste. Okay, so depends on how you say that, what you really mean when you're saying that. But the fact is, we're all different. That makes it a huge difference. So Richard Reno, the guy with the yellow book there, who's brilliant as anyone, said there are no problem properties, just problems of ownership. The wrong person owns the property. So by marketing the benefits, we're looking for the right person to own the property. It's a little different than what we call plant and pray real estate, where your broker plants a sign in the yard, puts it on the MLS and prays that somebody buys it, okay? That's not what we're looking to do. Okay, everybody, I gave homework. How many people did their homework? All right, 2 of you. Okay, good. So what I want to do now is, if you'll notice on the front page of your handout, we've got a value perception chart. So who wants to share what they chose as their numbers from top to bottom knowing that you'll only be, ostracized to a certain extent. So, but what do you got there?
Well, because of where we are, I put number 4, paper notes and trust deeds,
Uh-huh.
owner carried financing.
Sure.
And then second, I put free and clear notes,
What number?
number 7.
Okay.
Then in the third slot, I put number 11, subdividable free and clear land.
Okay.
In the fourth slot, I put number 1, free and clear income property. In the fifth slot, I put number 9, stocks and bonds. In the sixth, number 13, 10-year encumbered commercial apartment ground. I guess that's just unimproved land or something.
Mhm.
In the seventh slot, I put number 14, cheap land in the middle of nowhere.
Okay.
Number 8, I put 8, 20-year, 8% lease. And number 9, I put 5, break-even property.
Okay.
And 10, I put precious metals, gold, silver, that's all.
Cool. Alrighty. The interesting here, it doesn't happen that often. Here's somebody who likes cheap land in the middle of nowhere better than a 20-year, 8% triple net lease. That doesn't always happen. Anyone else want to share? Yes, sir.
Just to take a shot.
Mhm.
Number one, number 2, number 4, number 10, number 11, let's see, 13, apologize, number 8, number 12, and number 5.
Right. You don't like people that much, do you?
I'm 72 years old. I'm
Yeah,
getting
that's what I
tired
thought.
of it.
Yeah, exactly. Anyhow, we can make some more, but what usually happens is you see everybody is different. So, yes, Ted, you have a comment?
I think it would be interesting to see a comparison from someone that filled this out at age 30 to the age 70.
Right.
Because I think it would be significantly different.
Absolutely. You're a different person every decade, actually every day. So you do meet year to year, and my list is probably going to be different. It's interesting, some of the people, what they're willing to do. Most people, I see a lot of second guessing, a lot. Yeah, you're right, we want money, generally. I mean, people want cash and they're willing to pay tax consequence on it until you get to a certain point that cash becomes a curse. And, some of us may be in that position, but, generally people will take cash. But you'll notice 1, 3, 4, and 7 are gonna tend to be higher up in the top, free and clear houses, free and clear income property, stuff like that, are gonna tend to be in the upper portion. Well, everyone's different. There is this ladder of values that we end up, it's different for everybody, but it tends to be that, free and clear houses, free and clear income properties, things like that end up being near the top. So anyhow, that's really just an exercise to talk to everybody and get discussion opened up. If you all had access to everybody else's list, you would know a lot more who to do a deal with, okay? Because you'd see some people, if they don't want cash under any circumstance, and you need cash, that's probably someone you want to talk to, because cash is probably a 50% liability to them, okay? And so they're a good partner for you under those circumstances. So basically different people, everyone's different. If everybody wasn't different, we wouldn't be able to do deals. But I do want everybody to know that some assets are inherently more valuable than others. So if you had land in the middle of nowhere with debt, you're probably gonna have to add a lot to it. So that goes, I'll give you one of my colorful anecdotes. I'll keep the 4-letter words out of it, but if I have a bag of dog poo for you, I'll say, Scott, you want it? He doesn't want the free and clear land. You want a bag of dog poo? No, right. If I reach in my pocket and I get out a $50 bill and I tape it to that bag of dog poo, do you want it? Right, because you're just gonna take the $50 bill, put it in your pocket, and you throw away the dog poo, right? So again, why'd you lie to me? Okay? You want that bag of dog food, not for it, for what I have to give you in order to get you to take it.
The
Okay?
benefits.
The benefits. The benefits can be purchased with that $50 bill, okay? More benefits than detriments of carrying it to the trash can. Basically, we're all different. How is all this exchanging done? And again, I go back to the marketplace. Educated brokers with well-counseled clients, working based on benefits to trade properties. So, how do we do this when everybody is so different? And the answer is by getting to know them, okay? I've gotten to know Andrea over the years, that's why we're effective. First couple of years, we didn't know each other, we weren't nearly as effective, okay? I've asked her to bring cash to one deal in those first couple of years, okay? We've done $12 million worth of deals, she's only bought cash once, okay, that very first deal, but we've gotten to know each other a lot better. So counseling is the key. Spending the time so that your broker knows exactly what you will and will not do. That way we have a chance of trading the property. Thoreau, I see young men, my townsmen, whose misfortune it is to have inherited farms, houses, barns, cattle. For these are more easily acquired than got rid of, okay? It's really hard to sell real estate. It's so hard to sell real estate that you'll pay a broker to pay another broker to bring a buyer to sell the property, right? It's hard. It's not an easy thing to sell real estate. It's really easy to buy it, right? How many people here have found it pretty easy to buy real estate? Right. So when you say I want to buy it, you go out and guess what happens?
You buy it.
You buy it. Okay. You say I want to go sell it.
Different story.
What happens, right? You sort of, oh
It was
God.
a pretty hot market a couple of years
Who do I call? Yeah. There are times that and I always say, remember our taker chart. There are a lot more people who will buy it if you offer more benefits, if you provide seller financing, if there's different ways of doing it. And even more if you take their property at their price. So that always means, I always say be a buyer, not a seller. So if you're gonna go, you got a little property, you want a bigger property, go ahead and offer the guy with the bigger property your little property and more money to make the thing work, okay? And if they say, that's great, I like it, but I don't want your property, so okay, accept the deal, subject to finding something else for my property. Because you might sell my property for less than I'd be willing to, okay? Because you really want to sell the big thing, and I've got a little thing. So I always tell people, be a buyer, not a seller. So imagine a single family home free and clear in Denver, with or without a tenant, okay? As a broker, we can be representing the seller, we can be representing the buyer. If we're representing the seller, how do we get them the best price, the best set of benefits possible? We need to know them, okay? If they need the money, it's their own owner-occupied house, there's no tax consequences, it's gonna sell easily on the MLS. We're gonna go the route that we, 98% of the time kind of thing, just go ahead and do that. If the people are high net worth, this is an investment property, they've held it for decades and decades, they'd get killed on taxes if they sold it. Putting on the MLS and selling, it's probably not in their best interest, okay? So by knowing that, we decide what to do. Well, offer a seller carry, for instance, or go buy the bigger property with it. These are different ways to do it. On the other side now, the easy side, how do we want to buy it? Okay, do we want to spend cash on it, buy it as cheap as we possibly can? Do we want to ask them for a seller carry note, thinking that they're probably going to ask for a little bit more price, but they're going to give pretty good terms? Do we want to buy it with other property that we have and we no longer want to have? Or the other, start to get into my realm of things, the crazy side of it, we'll buy it with a note on something else that we own and we want cash back, okay? So I'm gonna buy the property because I want to get paid some cash, okay? It's not gonna be taxable because of the way we do the transaction, but would I like to buy it that way? How many people here wanna buy a property and get paid at the closing? All right. I guess another question, how many people here have bought property and gotten paid at the closing? Right, a lot of us, okay? So that is part of the benefits. And another thing, just these little anecdotes I like to share with you. So house, in exchanging, we say a house is a note with an uncertain due date, okay? A house will sell. We don't know exactly when, but it's gonna go to cash. And so it's like currency. So all of this is finally bringing us to real estate exchange formulas, and I'm gonna spend the rest of the time giving you a few of those. Don't get distracted by the pretty picture, and anyone who knows me will be amazed at how, that I made a colored picture, so just saying. Just saying.
Blake is very proud of these slides.
I very rarely put things on paper and do anything other than discuss these things as abstract thoughts. So I've done this to try and help everybody. So I'm patting myself on the back. So for those seeking to invest for a profit, I was just picking different benefits and formulas. So one of my favorite formulas was what I call land plus cash equals paper. Okay, and modified, you call it land plus cash equals paper or property. So what that means is if Scott's got a $50,000 piece of land, he just spoke up, so you're down. You got a $50,000 piece of land, and you got, and you want to get rid of it, right? And you'd like to turn it to paper, meaning you'd like to get a promissory note secured by a deed of trust for it. You'd be happy with that. And you have money, because you're really investing for a profit in real estate. You actually want to go bigger, okay? I'll take your $50,000 piece of land, but I want $50,000 worth of cash too, and I'll give you a $100,000 note, okay? Effectively, I'm paying twice as much for the cash and having the land for free, depending on how we look at it. This is just a way to get rid of paper and or get rid of land that you don't want, and you go up, and anyone will take a piece of paper into another transaction, generally. Okay, and so when you put the sign out there, when you sell land and you put a sign there to sell the land, when the paint has worn off the sign and somebody has to go and really try hard to see the phone number on the sign, that's when that land's gonna sell, okay? That's how land sells generally. If you don't wanna wait for that, you add cash to it and you go buy with it, okay? And or property. So there are a lot of people in here, myself included, you know, if you have a little $150,000 house, I'll take the $50,000 piece of land if there's $100,000 cash that comes with it, because it's more beneficial, okay? And the land plus cash equals paper. The land doesn't have hardly any benefits. The cash has a lot of benefits, perceived benefits. And so therefore people will give a promissory note secured by a deed of trust, really for the cash. They'll take the land as a must take and go on to the next thing. Everyone looks a little confused.
Yeah.
Does that make any sense to anybody? That's one of my, to the guys who've heard me about 20 times. So anyhow, that's one of the things. We'll go to an exchange meeting, excuse me. We go to an exchange meeting and somebody will have a piece of land and say that they have well-heeled, good, capable clients. And that's what I'll say. I'll say, land plus cash equals paper with a question mark, okay? And people, yeah, land plus cash equals paper. So that's giving me the green light to write an offer with a note and deed of trust secured by something that I own for that piece of land and some money, okay? So that's a way we communicate in the meetings, and also a way to get a formula out there. So I tried to explain that. I don't know if I did very well. Okay, for making money off real estate, people who say, I got no money, I'm coming here, I'm going to a real estate place because I want to make some money, right? That's why we came here. That's why we're all going to this room, because we all want to make some money, okay? The formula, the one that comes off the top of my head, and the one I use probably the most of these, is what I call buy the down payment with paper, okay? You can probably go get a new loan or seller carry financing on some deals one way or another. Get one of these lenders to provide the deal's good enough, of course, all those caveats, to lend you money, but you don't have a down payment. But they take Scott's piece of land as a down payment, okay? If you brought cash for the rest of the deal or got a new loan and you've got that secured, or they'd sell or carry finance, okay? But you aren't Scott, okay? You don't have this piece of land. I bet you though, if you talk to them, or somebody with a piece of land, myself and lots of people included, will take a second note and deed of trust on that property you're buying in exchange for that land, okay? You've now 100% financed your acquisition, and Scott got rid of his piece of land. He turned it to paper. So that's a formula to 100% finance a property, okay? Another thing you could do is, shoot, the two of you say, I need some money though. And it turns out his piece of land's worth $200,000 and the property you want to buy is worth 500,000. You may be able to go borrow 400,000 on it and pay him half cash, or pay him a quarter of it cash and note, and make everybody happy. So what I'm saying is, look at alternative ways of doing things, and there are a lot of different opportunities to do it. It's really how aggressive you want to be. You know, is that a smart thing to do? Like I tell people, I could get you $100 million worth of real estate, 100% financed, probably by the end of the year, okay? Is that something anybody should do? No, okay? That would be a really stupid thing to do, probably, okay? But how much do you want? If you say I can stomach this much 100% financed property, there's a formula to do it. If all the numbers work, you'll make money off real estate just by doing the work, okay? And you've satisfied, you've provided Scott with the benefits he sought, you've provided the seller of the property with the benefits they sought, and you've created benefits for yourself in the transaction. Okay, so some of you have credit partner people in here, people who say, shit, I got a good credit score and a good balance sheet. I don't want to do anything, but I'd like to use my credit and balance sheet to make money, right? Isn't that one of your partnership deals that you do in the syndications? Okay, well, you can either take, or in a transaction, you can take or put land down and then go get a new loan to bring money and do it on a sale leaseback buyback kind of deal. Now, this is probably going to be way too, I'm going to have a hard time articulating this for people. But I'll give you an example that I did. So these apartments, why I owe $1.8 million on them, okay? I have owned them for a long time. I'm not currently entitled to them. Who's entitled to them are 2 LLCs as tenants in common. The owners of those 2 LLCs that hold it as tenants in common had 2 pieces of land that they did not want, but they had the ability to go get a Fannie Mae loan, okay? I had gone through the crash, got this thing restored, you know, had control of everything, needed a refinance. I took 670 acres of land in Nevada and 22 lots in Cortez, Colorado as a down payment at $1,750,000 and $1.1 million of a new loan from Fannie Mae, and then did a sale and leaseback. Basically refinanced my property. Now it's worth $3 million later. They've been paid on their notes for their land for all this time. Fannie Mae, everybody's been paid. That's a way to do a refinance with a credit partner, and to, oh, by the way, guess what they got? You know why they did the deal?
They wanted to get rid of their land.
They wanted to get rid of their land, okay? They had land that they wanted to sell, and none of us were buying, okay? But I took it because it came with a lot of benefits. I'm now going to sell that apartment complex and pay off a house, okay? So the benefit for me in the long run was a house, okay? I didn't know that when I started. Didn't matter, okay? But that's a formula for people with credit. So if you've got a good ability to go get a new loan, you can partner with people with a piece of land, the person with something with a dream, and make yourself a good return. And then the person with the dream gets it done. Those are not 1, 2, 3 of the new ones. Number 4 I put always seller carry is a formula, just for people who don't think about it that way. All right, so Steele has 300 formulas in his book. I brought an example. Actually, he brought it. Calvin brought one of the books too. 300 formulas. Bob Steele sells on Amazon for $240. We can auction one off here in a few minutes if you want. So the possible number of formulas is infinite. Don't try to jump into these without counseling. Don't do this without a broker. Make sure you've got somebody who knows what they're doing, or your attorney or somebody involved. Attorneys won't necessarily know it. So I'm going to cover 2 formulas, and I apologize if we take a few minutes. Hopefully everyone can stand it. You'll just be sitting in traffic otherwise. First example is the creation of wealth formula. We'll be taking equity from an existing property in the form of a second note and using that as a down payment to acquire a new property while still keeping the first one. I'll do this, read it. In order to spread the equity and increase the client's portfolio. In the second example, we'll show you how a seller can finance and still qualify for the 1031 process. But let's start with creation of wealth formula. So this is formula number 1 in most of the books. In Bob Steele's books, it's probably number 1 or number 2, something like that. What this is we're going to go from owning $250,000 of real estate to owning $650,000 of real estate. we've got a house, it's worth $250,000, it's got a $100,000 debt. We like it, it's got a tenant in it, we don't wanna get rid of it, okay, we love it. Shouldn't be your house you live in, because that gives it a poor example, but what we're gonna do is we have a fourplex over there across the street that we really like, that's worth $400,000, okay, and we want that. We don't have any money, all we have is the ability to go get a new loan, or maybe the guy will sell it, carry it for us. What we do is we go, we make a contract and make them an offer and say, I wanna create a $100,000 second note on my single family home and give it to the seller as a down payment. And I'm gonna bring $300,000 in a new loan from Happy National Bank, or I'm going to ask for a seller carry for $300,000, okay? When we're done, what do we have? Now we've got two properties, okay? We've got the house, but now it's got $200,000 worth of debt on it, okay? We've got the fourplex that's got $300,000 worth of debt on it. So we started with $150,000 of equity, and we ended with $150,000 of equity. We didn't miraculously create equity here. We didn't change anything in laws of the universe. We have $50,000 equity in the house, $100,000 in the fourplex. We've really created wealth. We've gone from $250,000 in real estate to $650,000. What do you all think happened to the risk? Right. The risk went way, way up, okay? Because when markets correct by 40%, which they do, this value is gonna be here, and this value is gonna be here somewhere, and it's gonna have been a bad idea, okay? But assuming things keep going forward and in good markets, it's a good idea. So that's what I call the fine line between clever and stupid, is the market. But bottom line is this can be done all day long. You will find people who's gonna take this second note if you go bring the rest of the benefits and buy the fourplex. So, let's see the 1031 paper. This is something that not many people do. I'm probably one of the only people who actively seeks out doing these kind of transactions. These are the deals that Anthony had wanted you guys to look at that I did with Andrea Newman, and this is what I call 1031 paper. As I mentioned to you, the cash is just promissory notes. It can be passed through the 1031 process. That's what the essence of this is. So, just to go over this and solidify it a little bit, we could teach a whole class on 1031 paper. I do that with brokers, and I end up with all kinds of questions. So if you don't understand it, it's my problem, not yours. So we have a property that we own, and the seller owns this given property. Buyer comes along, he's got two ugly old cats he wants to put down, and he wants you to sell or carry the rest of it, okay? And I won't use the two cats, I'll use, so he's got $50,000 down, and he wants you to sell or carry the rest of it. Or he's got a little property, or how about an RV? He's got an RV, and he wants you to sell or carry, okay? So the question mark's gonna be the RV and the paper. You're gonna say, yes, this was Andrea selling an office building. Say, yes, I will accept your RV that I don't want, and I will carry paper for you even though I don't want to, subject to being able to find something else in lieu of what I'm getting out of this transaction, okay? If I can find somebody to take your down payment and my seller carry note, we'll go forward. So, we then go, and later I find a KOA campground, okay? And we have a down payment, which is cash in this case, and a seller carry on an office building. And we go and we borrow a couple $1 million to do the transaction. When we locate this, and the guy who says he'll take it, then we can move on and close this deal. So, what happens is a buyer comes along, they want to buy this property, they've got a questionable down payment. You'll accept it if we can get somebody else to take the seller carry paper, which is the first note and deed of trust on the property, the down payment, and the down payment, and you go get a new loan. Oh, in between, after I said, the qualified intermediary is going to hold all the notes and deeds of trust just like they hold the cash. You've now got your property here with the down payment from the buyer rate, the seller carry note on the second one, and the new loan of the cash. And eventually, you just keep going up. All of these pieces become less and less significant as these numbers get bigger. So go ahead and show the last one to show. And this will give you the whole, all the overall numbers, okay? The down payment for IRA, that RV, say it's worth $125,000, okay? Let's say this whole property here was, the first property is worth $100,000, so that's a $25,000 RV. That's a $70,000 note, okay? Property two was $400,000, that means that's a $300,000 note. Property three was $1 million, that means that's a $600,000 note. Property four is $2 million, that's a $1 million note. All of these things together, I guess the bottom line, so let's go through the whole thing. So, the first buyer gets their property with whatever down in seller carry. The seller gets the second property, the second seller gets the third property, third gets the fourth one. Everybody goes up in debt and equity. As it continues, it becomes mostly cash or paper, okay? Every time I'm saying paper, that could be cash from the new loan. Eventually, this could be all cash, depending on how the deal goes. What I like to point out, this is usually for the broker's side of it. At some point, it should say point instead of coin, I was supposed to correct that. The brokers might accept the whatever down, the $25,000 RV and the $75,000 note, and it can close with the seller four getting all cash or paper. Okay, everybody can get what they want, because guess what? The total fees, $25,000 and $75,000 there is less than the fees are gonna be on the $3.5 million. So we as brokers will just take the junk that nobody wants and we'll close the whole group, okay? And everybody says, what the hell happened, right? Well, buyer one, A got his property, seller one got their property, seller two got their property, seller three got their property. Brokers all get paid. If we do it all with paper, we didn't ever have to go to the bank for a loan. So a group of a half a dozen people could do this transaction without requiring any outside party, provided the properties were free and clear.
No loan approvals, no origination fees.
No loan approvals, no underwriting, none of those usual hassles. No tax returns, none of the rest of it. Now, in the real world, people say, well, how many times are you gonna run into this many people with free and clear property? Well, it happens, but not forever. It's a little more complicated. We do the same thing with the debt. We just have to accommodate where the debt is. As long as the people, when they buy the new property, can move their existing debt to their new property, this can all happen just as if they're free and clear. So what we did, and that was using that example I had there. So show me that first slide on the 1031 paper. So Andrea, when she came to me as a client, some of the people they always, what do they call, A Better Way guy, John O'Hara, and the Jim Flint people, some of you might know him up here in Denver, had met Andrea and had her as a client and said, oh, we've got these office buildings in Colorado Springs, can you take care of her down in Colorado Springs? I made the assumption they were counseling her and doing all the rest of it. Best thing that happened for me was we got this. So she had the misfortune of inheriting 2 office buildings in Colorado Springs, okay? She didn't want to own them anymore. They were good assets, nothing wrong with them. So we found a guy, we did 2 different deals like this, but we found a guy who had here $180,000 cash, okay? He wanted, this time this is an office building, it's worth $630,000. The guy had $180,000 in cash to buy this property, and he wanted a $450,000 selling carry. Okay, he has $180,000 down. Is he qualified? Yes. So that's the qualification we did, right? He was a financial planner. We knew he'd go to jail if he screwed up. So we said we would love it. We'd love to take your $180,000 down and your $450,000 sell it carry, if we can find somebody else to take it. Okay, someone else, something to take in lieu of your cash and the seller carry note, because we don't really want. That's not what she wants. She wants more units, okay, or something bigger. So I took to the marketplace a $450,000 seller carry first note from somebody that given $180,000 down payment. I took it out to the exchange marketplace and marketed it as that, looking to buy apartments or mini storage, because that's what Andrea likes, apartments or mini storage. Turns out people with apartments and mini storage get a little crazy and think that since they're in a cash economy, they don't have to do anything creative, they just have to raise the price and eventually someone will buy it. So we didn't have much success shopping for multifamily and mini storage, but John Tyler, an exchanger, an SEC member, very experienced exchanger, had a KOA campground in Kansas City. I'm sorry, I'm making you talk a lot. at a KOA campground in Kansas City. He said, my seller in my campground would really like that $450,000 first note.
And I said, what the heck is a campground?
Yeah, yeah, and so. Qualified. And so I came home, so we have little mini offer forms we write, and they wrote, I had a written mini offer saying, I would love to take your note and whatever else you can add, because we got a $3 million campground we're looking to sell you. Okay? Sort of a goal, okay, a $3 million campground, all right, well, she had to go to KOA University, she had to get familiar with the lender, she had to do all this other stuff, but when Andrea looked at it, right, it was,
Money.
right, it's a bunch of small incomes that come in monthly and that you add up on spreadsheets and accumulates money at the end, a lot, exactly what you guys do a lot of, okay? So we decided that was pretty good. So we said, yeah, we'll do it. And so we took the $180,000 down and the $450,000 note. It was a good note, good interest and good balloons. And she borrowed $2.1 million from the KOA campground lender. Another little aside, she had a note from another deal she did that threw into it. But yes, sir.
What did that note look like?
The note, the $450,000 note was at, I'm sorry, John, I almost out you, was at, it was 6% interest only with $50,000 annual balloons, all payable in 4 years. First note with $180,000 down payment on a 10,000 square foot office building on Academy Boulevard in Colorado Springs. Anybody take the note, okay?
Did you create that?
It was on Heron Park.
Did you think of creating that note that way, or was that?
Yes, we negotiated that note with the buyer, similar to another transaction we did with the same buyer on another office building, which we used the same formula. So the question is, well, how does this all come together? Because it takes a long time. It took us 18 months, okay, between when we made that, said yes, we'll do that, to when she owned the KOA campground, okay? In the meantime, we did a master lease to the seller, to the buyer, at the same terms and conditions as if you put $180,000 down, with the caveat that you sure as hell better have his $180,000 when it's time to close. Yeah. Which he did, and everything worked out. So by the time the guy closed, he had equity. Because 18 months had passed in Colorado Springs, and suddenly the building was great. But we had any trouble. So what happened the next time was the Dennis Kroll. So the guy who said, I really want that $450,000 note, you know why? He didn't want the note. He wanted this thing over here, which was another campground in Wilcox, Arizona, okay? So he took the seller carry note, the down payment, and the cash for the new loan. He piled all that stuff together, and he went and bought himself a bigger place. The guy who did that, and as you saw in the next slide, did it again. This guy calls him up and says, who the hell do I pay? You know, I said, check to the guy. He says, you're not paying me anymore. That's not my note. So, you know, bottom line is they figured out who to pay. It was probably 4 or 5 owners, maybe 6 owners down the road, and they got the balloon and it all paid off. So to those people, it was like cash. Theoretically, the note could be passed from qualified intermediary to qualified intermediary and cash out as cash within the transaction. So, any questions on that?
I did the deal, like,
Yeah, exactly. And so, did the other guy know what we did, right? The other broker, did he know what we did? No, they had no idea what we did. Yes, Mark?
You love the campground now, right?
oh yeah, I do.
Sometimes.
Once I started getting into it, I realized I really do enjoy like figuring out ways to make customers happy, and, you know, but like make more money. So like I'm putting in the solar field now, which will be a 10% profit or return on investment every year, and so I just, you know, it has so many more ways that I can think of to increase the
By
income.
just improving the property.
Right, yeah, adding things, you know, adding little things that make profit, and then selling pizza at the store, all of a sudden you get a little more money.
And then, yeah, and then what did we do next? Did you want another RV park?
Well, I didn't know I wanted another
Did your broker tell you you wanted another RV park? Yeah. So what we then did was we went, she ended up with a $3 million campground with a $2.1 million of debt, was the only debt against it. So she had $900,000 equity sitting in a campground. What the hell? So we created a $600,000 junior note on that campground, used it as a down payment, and bought another campground with $1.4 million from the new loan. So she just spread that equity all over all these different properties, not gaining through the transaction, but gaining from the passage of time. Yes, sir.
So how many campgrounds do you own now?
Right now, too.
Just the two.
And you started with the one single RV?
No, there was no archive. And not even wide in an RV, I bought the campground.
Well, she started in an office building in Colorado Springs.
Yeah, an office building in Colorado Springs is what I started out with, and
Right.
it was a relatively small one too, it wasn't
Yeah,
just.
that's
it was-
10,000 square foot
Yeah,
office building.
right.
There's the Talia Thomas, look at that. The most recent picture, it is because my sign's not out there. It was funny, people told me they see my signs all over town. That's the only sign I had in Colorado.
Yeah, this is
Springs.
that's a 2019 picture, man, you're lucky.
There you go, yeah. So anyhow, that was the first little house thing in the picture was that.
And then it was that building across the street too.
That one we did before, and
Yeah.
so a little note on that was part of the rest.
So there are two buildings.
And actually, it was a note on the property in Euclid, Ohio that she took for that one is how we did that. I think I talked too much on the other things and bombarded you at the end, so I apologize, but hopefully you learned a little bit of that. Thank you. And it's after 12.